AI. It's everywhere we turn these days, right? But it's already kind of shaking things up in places you might not expect.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
Yeah,
you know, ever think about AI putting a value on your house?
it's happening.
Yeah, it really is. AI is quietly uh, revolutionizing all these traditional fields, and real estate is no exception.
Right. And that's exactly what we're diving deep into today, how AI is, well, changing the game when it comes to real estate appraisals. And we've got some really, really interesting sources to help guide us, including a real estate appraisal company that's using this technology right here in the U.S.
Yeah, sorry. We're going to be looking at Red Rose Appraisals. They're out of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania,
Hmm.
and they're actually using AI for valuations, market analysis, the whole nine yards, and not just like residential properties, but commercial ones too.
Now, I don't know about you, but when I think about what goes into, like, I don't know, putting a price tag on a house, on a property. I think location, I think square footage, maybe that clawfoot tub in the bathroom that just screams vintage charm, you know?
Yeah, but how does AI make sense of any of that?
That is the question, right?
Yeah.
AI doesn't experience a house the way that we do. It's not smelling the cookies, picturing those family dinners in the Eaton kitchen.
So so how do we bridge that gap? How do we get from point A to point B?
This is where, like, understanding these language models, ChatGPT, all of that, understanding that is really, really important for this deep dive
Okay.
because they don't think like humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they need a way to process and really understand language,
Right.
which brings us to things like tokenization and embeddings.
Okay, let's unpack this. So tokenization, it sounds like something out of the Matrix.
It's really simpler than it sounds. Just imagine breaking down language into like tiny Lego blocks.
Those blocks, those are the tokens.
Okay.
That's what the AI uses. And they can
Hmm.
be words, they can be parts of words, even punctuation marks.
So instead of seeing a whole sentence like about a charming bungalow, the AI is seeing what? Charming bungalow, fireplace, all broken down.
You got it.
Okay.
That's exactly it. Those little tokens, that's how AI starts to kind of grasp, make sense of language.
Okay. So then how does it go from charming bungalow to like actually understanding what makes that bungalow valuable on the market, compared to other houses?
That's where the embeddings come in.
Okay.
And this is where I think it really gets go. Okay, so picture like a giant map, but instead of countries and cities, every single point is a word.
Oh, wow.
And words that have similar meanings, they're all clustered together. So charming, cozy, inviting, they'd all be in the same neighborhood on this map.
Oh, I see. So the AI is basically learning which words go together. Like granite countertops usually hang out with stainless steel appliances in like real estate language.
Exactly, exactly. And this map, it's not just like a flat surface
Oh,
either, right? Think of it more like a universe with like hundreds of dimensions.
okay.
Each one stands for a different feature of a word.
My brain is starting to hurt.
Stay with me. Stay with me. This is where it gets good. Okay, so each one of these dimensions, think of it as something like, I don't know, square footage,
Okay.
lot size, location, even the style of the house.
Hmm.
And AI can use these dimensions to group similar houses together.
So a charming bungalow with a fireplace might be grouped near other bungalows that have similar features, which then helps the AI kind of figure out its market value compared to like I don't know, a modern loft downtown or something.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And this is really just scratching the surface here. But remember Red Rose appraisals and how they use AI for their valuations.
Right.
Well, this is part of how AI begins to make sense of all of that real estate data.
It's wild. Okay, so we've also got this certified appraiser, Chandra Amast, who actually uses AI in her work.
Right, right.
And she points out that AI has a bit of a math problem, which seems kind of important when we're talking about, putting a dollar amount on properties.
Yeah, she makes a really, really good point. I mean, it seems, I don't know, counterintuitive, right?
Hmm.
Because AI, it sells it language, but then numbers, they can be kind of a stumbling block. And
Interesting.
it all goes back to those tokens we were just talking about.
Okay, so those language Legos that the AI uses, what's the issue with numbers?
Well, remember how we were saying AI breaks words down into these individual tokens?
Right.
Sometimes the same thing can happen with numbers.
Oh, okay.
Right? Instead of seeing 2,500 square feet as one number, it might see, 2,500 and then square feet. And that makes it really, really hard to do the math.
So it's almost like asking somebody to solve a math problem using a code they don't fully understand.
Exactly. Exactly. And then on top of that, you've got this concept called temperature in AI,
Mm.
and that just adds this whole other layer of, you know, complexity,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to numbers.
Temperature, like how hot or cold the AI is feeling. What are we
Yeah.
talking about?
Not quite. Think of it more as a measure of randomness. So high temperature means that AI is more likely to kind of get creative, maybe even making things up as it goes. But then low temperature means it's playing it safe, sticking to what it knows.
So for an appraiser like Chandra, you'd want that AI to have a pretty low temperature when it comes to crunching those numbers. We're talking property values here. This isn't creative writing class.
Exactly. You want those valuations to be as accurate and as consistent as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, Chandra being the expert in both real estate and AI, she's got some pretty clever workarounds for these, I don't know what you want to call them, AI quirks.
All right, all right. I'm on the edge of my seat here. What are Chandra's pro tips? How do we make AI a little more math savvy? Spill the beans. What are these AI whispering techniques?
One is, well, it's surprisingly simple. You basically tell the AI to chill out,
Hmm.
literally. Like when you're asking it to work with numbers, you set the temperature to 0.
So no more AI going off script with my property values.
Exactly. Lower temperature, less randomness, way more precision. And when you're dealing with, home valuations, you really need that precision.
Absolutely. Okay, so what else can we do besides, giving the AI some ice water? How else can we make sure it's getting those numbers right?
So Chandra also suggests actually spelling out the numbers instead of using the digits.
Oh, interesting.
So instead of 1,500, you'd write 1,500.
So by spelling it out like that, are we kind of removing the AI's chance to get confused by those individual digits?
Yeah, exactly. It's all about making it super clear for the AI, right?
Yeah.
Given how it can be with numbers.
Right.
And these little workarounds, they actually seem to work really well, which I think speaks to Chandra's, her position. She's not just using AI, she's helping everyone else figure out how to use it better.
It's like she's got this insider knowledge, bridging the gap between traditional real estate and then this cutting edge tech.
Absolutely, yeah. And it brings us back to the bigger question, right?
Right.
How is AI going to shape the future of, the whole real estate game?
Right. Are robots going to be replacing appraisers altogether? Should I be updating my resume right now?
I don't think you need to panic just yet.
Okay, good.
Chandra seems to think it's less of a takeover and more of an evolution.
Okay.
AI can definitely automate some of the more, I don't know, tedious stuff,
Right.
which then frees up the appraisers to really focus on the bigger picture.
So it's like AI could be the ultimate appraiser's assistant, handling all the boring data stuff while the humans, use their expertise for all those judgment calls that AI isn't quite ready for.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, think about it, right? AI can analyze thousands of data points in seconds.
Mhm.
It can pick up on those market trends that, we might miss.
Yeah.
But it's still going to struggle with those really unique properties or even just understanding, why that clawfoot tub you were talking about, why that adds value beyond just, how old it is.
It's like AI can give you the facts, but humans, we bring the understanding, the intuition, all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great way to put it. It's not about replacing us. It's about, helping us work smarter, work faster. Imagine appraisers having more time to actually, understand their clients, to visit properties,
Yeah.
to do what they do best without being chained to a spreadsheet all day.
Okay, that part does sound kind of appealing, I'm not gonna lie. No more. Late nights, hunched over my computer trying to decipher market trends for my quarterly reports.
Maybe. Maybe not. But no, but in all seriousness, I do think AI has this real potential to make the whole real estate industry better, more efficient, more accurate, and ultimately, better for everybody involved.
I like the sound of that. But before we get too carried away with this AI powered future, what are some of the bumps in the road we might hit? Because no tech is perfect. Yeah, no,
Okay.
you're telling me every shiny new piece of tech, it comes with its own set of question marks, right?
Absolutely.
So as AI becomes more and more ingrained in the real estate world, what should we be keeping an eye on?
Well, I think it really comes down to thinking critically about the limitations of this technology, right?
Right.
And one thing that always comes up is the data itself.
Okay.
AI, it's only as good as the information it learns from.
So if we're feeding it like biased data, then we're just going to end up with biased AI. Garbage in, garbage out, like they say.
Exactly, exactly. Like
Yeah.
if the data we have from the past, if it reflects, those inequalities that already exist in the housing market, well, the AI might just keep those biases going. And that's a huge problem, obviously.
Right. And we've seen that happen with algorithms in other industries. So it's definitely something to watch out for as AI becomes more, I don't know, powerful,
Yeah.
prevalent in
Yeah.
real estate.
Oh, absolutely. And it highlights how important it is to have, humans involved,
Right.
especially experts like Chandra, right?
Yeah.
Who can actually spot those biases and make sure that the AI is being used, well, responsibly.
It's like a checks and balances kind of thing
Exactly.
to make sure AI is a tool for good,
Yeah.
and not just automating the problems we already have.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really important takeaway from everything we've been talking about today. You know, AI, it's got this incredible potential, right? It's
Yeah.
going to really change the way we do real estate and change it for the better. But it's not some kind of like magic solution.
Right.
You know, we need to be thoughtful. We need to plan. We need to keep talking about these things to make sure it's being used ethically and that it's actually effective.
It sounds like the real estate agents, the appraisers, all those professionals who are going to really thrive in this AI world. They're going to be the ones who can like work with the tech, not against it.
100%. It's all about embracing what AI can do,
Yeah.
but also, being real about what it can't do
Yeah.
and the potential downsides.
It's like we're walking into this brand new world in real estate, this
Oh,
this AI frontier, and it's going to take people like Chandra, those who really get it, to help us navigate.
that's a great way to put it.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive here, it's funny. We started with AI feeling like this big vague thing, right?
Yeah.
But now I feel like we can actually see how it's like playing out in the real world.
Yeah.
Like right here in real estate.
And I think that's what we wanted to do with this deep dive, right? To kind of like pull back the curtain on AI a little bit
Yeah.
and show that it's already making a difference in an industry that's, well, is pretty close to home for most of us.
That's a good point. Literally close to home. But yeah, no, we dove into the deep end with those language models, right? We talked about how they process like mountains of information. We even got into like their struggles with something as basic as math.
Yeah. It can be kind of mind-blowing when you really think about it.
Totally. But then we also got to see how like actual real estate professionals are using this tech every day
Yeah.
to, analyze markets, figure out how much houses are worth. I mean, it's a pretty exciting time to be like following this whole thing.
It is. It really is. And I want to say, thank you because you broke it all down in a way that even I could understand. And I don't exactly have my finger on the pulse of, all the latest tech.
Well, hey, that's what we're here for.
Appreciate it.
And for our listeners, if this has piqued your interest, if you're, as fascinated by this AI stuff as we are, don't stop here.
Yeah.
We're going to have links to everything we talked about, including Chandra Moss's work, so you can, do your own deep dive. Until next time, keep those questions coming. And remember, knowledge is power.